Hello everyone, this is Mumbo and welcome back to another episode on the Hermitcraft server. It is episode 52 and today I'm starting things off in my dog walking course that I created in the previous episode of Hermitcraft. Now, there are a handful of questions that I got down in the comment section of that video, so I thought I'd quickly clear those up to start things off today. First one is how are we meant to get the dog around the course, because none of the hermits actually own this dog. Duke the dog owns Duke the dog. This isn't my dog either, look. Right clicking on it, doing absolutely nothing. I can't get this guy to sit up. So the way that you have to walk the dog is you actually have to push him around the course a little bit like this, because, you know, I'm not going to give away diamonds for free. I need to make sure that the hermits work for it a little bit, and I must say, it's actually, yeah, it's not the quickest of jobs, especially because he does occasionally get stuck. So hermits also, I give you permission to kind of chop and change things if you get into any sticky situations. Anyway, now that that's all cleared up, first thing for today's Hermitcraft episode is I'm going to be proactive with this build right here. I've been complaining ever since I built this thing that it's awful and I've never really liked it. So I thought in today's Hermitcraft episode I would take it out and then let you guys know about a little kind of contest that I want to do here. That was the weirdest laugh I've ever done in my entire life. Like, seriously, that was... I've never heard myself make that noise before. With most of this taken out, I have to say it's a little bit scary to think how many items are currently making their way into this hopper system and are probably eventually, maybe like 4 months later, just going to completely break this furnace smelter without me realizing. This is now all gone. It is open to the elements, and it is looking much better, to be quite frankly honest with you. So now it's time to issue this challenge. I'm just going to make some measurements. We have got a 20 by 24 area to work with here. And what I want you to do is I want you to go into your Minecraft worlds and build something pretty. Something that's in the style of this base. So it has to fit in with the style of builds that I've been working on it. And it has to use this block palette of the white concrete, the quartz, the glass planes, and also the cyan terracotta. It has to use those sorts of blocks because obviously it has to go with the style of my base. And I want you to build this in your Minecraft worlds and then tweet it to me with the hashtag Kelp Mumbo. So it's kind of like a play on words with help Mumbo, but instead of help we've got kelp because this is a kelp farm. So hashtag Kelp Mumbo. I'll put all of the details down in the description. I'm going to look through those and then I might take inspiration from some of them, or I might straight up copy one of the best ones because you guys are way more creative than me and you can build much more beautiful structures. Anyway, now that that's out of the way, it's time to start working on the next project for today's Hermitcraft episode, which is the Melon and Pumpkin farm. Now, I've built the same Melon and Pumpkin farm for the previous 2 seasons of Hermitcraft, and even though it is by far the most efficient design I've ever used, I'm kind of bored of building it. So I'm going to create a new design and it's going to be going in this area here. It's not going to be as efficient, but it's going to be fun to work. So the concept of this farm is pretty simple, as you can see right here. When a melon grows, the little stalk actually, it does something. It creates a block update, which of course our observer detects, and then we just have a piece of redstone that connects up the observer to the piston fires, breaks our melon, and then resets the farm. So everything just gets chucked off the edge and lands down in some hoppers. And this should, in theory, now function. I think. I mean, I imagine it will. Of course, before anyone says it down in the comment section, obviously our farm is going to be slightly bigger than this. Now, I'm just trying to think how big I want this thing to be. So I've laid out this area here, but here's the thing. We already have one very long farm off in this section here, and this farm isn't particularly tall, whereas I think it would actually be beneficial for us to move this over just a tiny bit and stack it up nice and high so that we have a little bit of verticalness going on in the base, because I really don't want all of the farms to just be sitting flat in this area here. And then we also need to think of something to put in this gap too. So I've started laying out all of the blocks, and actually, I think having it in this direction is going to push it out more in this direction because I want 2 layers. So I want 1 layer, so these 2, to be the pumpkins. Then I want this dirt strip is going to be facing in that direction. And then there's going to be another dirt strip over here facing in this direction. I don't know if any of that made sense, but that one's going to be the pumpkin. So we've got melon and pumpkin. And I think it's actually going to end up being bigger in this direction. So we're probably going to have to take all of this out and do the strips again, but facing this way. there's lots of like hand movements going on there, and it's very difficult to describe directions in Minecraft. Right, that's much better. That's quite a good module size. And then if we build this up tall, I mean, it could be... Yeah, this thing could be enormous. I don't know if I necessarily want it to be enormous, but it could be enormous. This is actually going to be quite an expensive build, I imagine. And I'm also trying to work out, so if I was to place another layer... If I was to place another layer here, would that work? I feel like it would work, but it would make our build very short, so I think I'm actually going to place the next level up here. This is probably layer number 5, I think. Man, it's getting difficult to count, so that's a rough inkling. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 layers so far. I think... I mean, 8 layers would be nice because there's 8 pistons, which means that it's 1 stack of pistons per slice. That works well for my little maths. But then, is it actually going to be too tall? And is it going to crash into the edge of the sphere? Because we kind of don't want that to happen. That's 7. Oh, I think we can go for 1 more. I think it will just about squeeze underneath. So, with all 8 layers built, it's now time to do some serious resource gathering. Because obviously, well, it uses probably about a stack and then some. I think it uses about a stack and a quarter of observers each time we build it. And then, of course, a stack of pistons and a bunch of redstone as well. We have no observers left, and we definitely don't have any pistons left. So, yeah, let's get crafting. Now, I'm really hoping that Green actually has some quartz in this store. Let's see. Yes. 2 diamonds equals 3 stacks. That's actually a much better deal than I was expecting, too. So... 4 diamonds in total. That is not bad. That should cover us. With this project, I have cleared out all of my cobblestone and, yeah, all of my dirt as well. This thing better produce a lot of pumpkins and melons, I'm telling you. I'm hoping this should now be enough to get the entire project finished up. In theory, it should be. I think I've got all the resources on us. So let's build up this next platform, then we can start to get a rough feel of how big this thing actually is. And I gotta say, I'm kind of finding a rhythm here. Like, we're getting some good speed on us now. And these few observers are the last ones for this layer. That was very fast. We managed to construct that real quick. Okay, so this is feeling good. This is feeling good. Right, I think it's time to build up the other 2. And you know what? I think it's time to do this in the form of a third-person time-lapse. That's going to be a lot more satisfying than me just doing progress updates on placing observers and pistons. If it's sped up, it will look cooler and less repetitive, hopefully. So in today's time-lapse chat, I want to talk to you about the project that myself and Chris and Jack have been working on. Now, for those of you who don't know, Zedaf on the Hermitcraft server also has another YouTube channel that he creates comedy shorts on with his friend Jack. It's called Chris and Jack. Would highly suggest checking out the YouTube channel because... I mean, it's my sort of humour. I find it absolutely hilarious. So please do check it out because they are fantastic. And for those of you who don't know, I also run a second channel called the Filming Channel. I'm sure you know that though because I mention it enough in all of my videos. But we did like a little collaborative project where they wrote and acted in their own sketch and then we did all of the filming for it. So we, meaning myself and Vicky, we did all the filming. We basically acted as the director of photography in the whole thing. And it's all been edited together. I've done the color grading for it. We've kind of worked collaboratively once again in post-production. And the video is now finished. It is done. And it is going to be releasing at some point in the very near future. And I can't wait to hear what you guys think of it. I personally think I'm very proud of it. Because we filmed it all in one night. It was a long, long night. We started filming at about 8 PM and finished probably at about 4:45 in the morning. Yeah, pretty crazy schedule, but I'm so proud. I think it's come together really nicely, so I'll be sure to let you know when it actually releases. And it'll be releasing, of course, on the Filming Channel, and then I believe the behind the scenes will be going up on Chris and Jack's channel. So keep your peepers peeled for all of that happening. And there we have it. This thing is now all constructed. Here is our farm, and I have to say, I seriously miscalculated how close this was going to be to the build. I thought that this was going to sit really, really close to the sphere, but it turns out that actually we should be okay. It is actually going to be quite close, I suppose, because we're 2 blocks further along and 2 blocks further across. So, It's going to cut it a little bit fine, but it's not going to be, you know, cutting right into the edge of the glass like I thought it was. Now let's see what this thing actually looks like in terms of builds in the city. And I have to say, it looks pretty sweet. Oh my, that looks so cool. And then what I thought we'd do is get another beacon off in this area here. We have so many beacons at this point in time because we got that one over there. We have 4 beacons already, but I think just beacons surrounding this entire thing would be pretty sweet. So we'll have a beacon off in this section. Man, this looks so cool. Oh, I can't wait for this to be beautiful. I think a beautiful tall build off in this area over the kelp farm will really help things out. But then once we get that thing constructed too, oh, and with the terraforming, that's going to be quite a fancy looking base. Now I need to think of, well, where on earth I'm actually going to get to all of the melon and pumpkin seeds to fill this thing in. I kind of hadn't thought that far ahead. There's literally nowhere that sells them, so I might have to ask around. You can always count on Impulse SV to have the things that you need. The man is a farm building machine, and he's carrying a shulker box, which is very, very cool. Oh, dude! That's crazy. In the chat, he just said he only had a small amount. This is why I love people like this. I love the Hermitcraft server. Thank you ever so much, Impulse. You are the man. You're the man of the hour. I don't know if I've done this yet in the Hermitcraft series, but that feels pretty good. That's when you know you have too many diamonds, when you can afford to spend them on a diamond hoe. So this side is going to be the melons, and then the other side is going to be the pumpkins. I have to say, if I just do this, does tilled soil always look like that? Or is that a new texture? I feel like that's a new texture. Another thing that I've noticed is that this is really difficult to do because, obviously, I mean, already I have been knocked off probably about 5 times. And that was just on the first layer. And there was only 8 things to place. So that's one of many. Okay, the fact that there's melons here, very exciting. Super, super excited about that. The fact that there's melons here has me more confused than I think anything. How on earth have melons made their way? Just how has that happened? That doesn't make any sense to me. I really need to light this thing up. You have no idea how many times I've almost exploded the entire build because of creepers just hanging around on the top there. Anyway, that reminds me, I was meant to be lighting it up as I went along. Give me a second. Now this one section is a lot less deadly and all of the melon plants are in place. And as you can see, this thing has been harvesting while we've been going. So I have not got any melons in my inventory right now. And now I've got 45. That is a lot of melons. We're going to need to do something with storage. I mean, that's way more than I was expecting to pick up. Anyway, pumpkins seem to be the cheaper thing in terms of villager trading, in that you don't have to do any crafting for them, and most importantly, you tend to get more for your money for a pumpkin, I seem to remember. So I think the other 2/3 of the farm, or other 3/4 of the farm, are all going to be pumpkins. This will be the only melon section. I think we need to take a moment of appreciation for Exumavoid here, because in the early days of this Hermitcraft season, he created this shop, which is absolutely beautiful, and he was selling these bone blocks. And I think originally it was 1 stack for a diamond. Now it's 2 stacks for a diamond, which is even better. But he could have charged so much more for that. He could have charged a diamond per stack of bone meal, and people would have paid it, because in the early days of a Minecraft world, bones are so valuable. But he didn't. He chose not to, and you know, you have to love him for that. I've got to say, this project has been quite repetitive. Like, this design, it's, yeah, I mean, it's the same thing over and over again, so I do apologise for that, but I am very glad that we decided to do something a little bit different. Now, as I mentioned earlier on, I know it's not the most efficient design. I mean, it's definitely not going to be the most efficient design. I can already tell that you can see melons and pumpkins kind of getting stuck on things. I'm going to walk away from that guy. and actually place a light up here. But yeah, you can see melons and pumpkins, they're kind of getting stuck on the edges, and it's definitely not the most efficient use of space, that's for sure. This thing is absolutely enormous, but there's something quite fun about just building a farm. You know, building the most efficient farms is often very exciting, and I think wherever possible, if I haven't done the most efficient design before in Hermitcraft, I will definitely build the most efficient farm design. Like, for example, that mob farm that we constructed that is off over in that direction, that's one of the most efficient designs that you can create because it's really close to the floor and it's not loading many sub-chunks. It works amazingly well, and it was a design that I'd never done before. So, of course, I'm going to build it. But, say for example, there's Hermitcraft Season 7. Am I going to do that design again? Probably not. I'll probably mix it up with something new. And I think that's the way that I'm going to do farms. Because, of course, I like building farms. Farms are one of my favourite projects to work on when it comes to Minecraft projects. But building the same farms over and over again for multiple Hermitcraft seasons gets a little bit tiring for me, and also it probably gets quite tiring for you guys as well. Whoa, I mean, I've almost been pushed off the edge by a pumpkin that grew instantly. So I just planted that and then it grew just right next to me. And again, but this time on that side. God, this row, this is the high efficiency row. This is really producing some serious resources though. So if we take a little swim around here, I mean, we've got a bunch of pumpkins. We've got ourselves a ton of melons. There seems to be melons kind of all over the place here. We've managed to farm a creeper. He seems to be chilling out down at the bottom there. And actually, that's risky. We don't want to mess with him because he's out the water and he will explode and blow something up. But, I mean, this is some serious resources we're getting here. Nice. So with that being done, I'm just going to check on one or two things. So obviously we have got... My mouth is wide open. Sorry, I've just realised that my mouth being wide open doesn't make any noise. I was sat there with my mouth completely agape. Grian, dude, you... I mean, do I tell him? Look, okay, so Grian, just for future reference, okay? Just for future reference. So, this is very kind of you and I'm keeping them, right? These are sticking around. This is completely insane. But, dude, just come by and just take gunpowder. You helped me out with the digging. It was... I was very, very appreciative of that, and now you have definitely bought yourself a lifetime supply of gunpowder, so feel free to take as much as you need from this point forth. Holy mackerel. Oh, just in case anyone's kind of like, why on earth did you check the chest? Yeah, Grian told me that he had taken some out, and I just wanted to check on the supplies, essentially, and just see if it was worth me AFKing over here again. But by the look of things, it's not, and I'm super rich now, again. Now, the next thing that I quickly want to do is I actually want to head over to iTrader, okay? I've just realised I've forgotten my iTrade pass, so everyone ignore this. Everyone knows I've got an iTrade pass, but I am just going to temporarily destroy this door and break in. Because, yeah, Mr. Impulse SV doesn't appear to be selling pumpkins and melons. And we've just built ourselves a pretty gnarly pumpkin and melon farm. And I do feel bad because he did give us the melons and pumpkins to build our melon and pumpkin farm. But melons and pumpkins are by far, like by a mile, the best things to use on these farmers. Because look, it only takes 8 pumpkins for an emerald. It only takes 8. I mean, that means that you can get 8 emeralds per stack of pumpkins, which is that's insane. That's absolutely crazy. They're like the most emerald dense items in Minecraft. So I'm thinking that we build some form of store, probably around about here, I would say, that sells almost like a kit, like a small shulker box. You buy a shulker box for maybe 4, maybe 5 diamonds, and it is filled to the brim with pumpkins for the most part, and then a few melon blocks as well, just in case the pumpkin trade gets locked out, and then maybe some carrots and potatoes. I like that idea quite a lot, and I feel like it could make us quite rich. Let me know your thoughts on that one down in the comments section. I'd love to hear what you guys think of that. I personally think it's a pretty sweet idea, and I feel like we could do very well off that one. But anyway, I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button, and if you really loved it, then make sure to subscribe. But thanks for watching, guys. This has been Mumbo, and I'm out. I'll see you later. Oh, and filming channel stuff, link will be on the end screen. You know what to do.